I don't even know if the title of the video is appropriate because I don't know how YouTube functions regarding this. I know that back in 2018, there were efforts to censor conversations about topics like this because they want the mainstream media to give the talking points. They don't want like independent people to just, air their mind and their grievances and about the world they live in. But I think it's worth having a conversation because it's an important topic point. Like, wherever I go, people talk about it, whether it's in real life or online. Like this is the subject of the day, so I guess we have to discuss it. And the first interesting observation is the media getting fact checked on Twitter. A lot of them were writing the same old classic car drove into crowd. And they're getting fact checks saying, well, hold on a little bit. You're implying that's like a self-driving car, like a Tesla. No. There was a person that was driving it, and it was a person that had Saudi Arabian citizenship. And as you can see, hosted on MSN is one of the only ones that I could find, which actually talks about the type of person. The rest are trying, like the BBC is trying to change it a little bit. Car driven, right? So now you can't get fact checked because it is correct. Another one are saying Christmas market, the driver of the car is in custody, right? Then they talk about the people that died and the number of injured. But like they're trying to avoid the citizenship and the political ideology of the person that did it. Before we even get to that, my conversation would be like, how did it happen? Like, I understand that Germany has very strong hate speech laws. Germany has a lot of people that monitor social media. I mean, there have been people that mocked or insulted politicians in Germany, and they end up with a knock at their door. And so it begs the question, like, how was it possible, and who's getting fired over this? Like who were the people responsible in order to keep online space safe, and they failed to do it. Like I refuse to believe that this person like never sent a message, never went online. Like people didn't know who he was. From my understanding, like what's being discussed on Twitter right now, Saudi Arabia even wanted to extradite him. Like they wanted to. This is what Elon Musk has been tweeting. They required his extradition. Why wasn't it allowed? Like, again, the question is, like, who gets fired over this? Do we, it's getting to the point where if you say a racist joke or if you make fun of politician, there are consequences, right? But when something like this happens, there's no consequences. And my question is why? Now, the second talking point is regarding the ideology of the individual. And I don't even need to imagine. Like it's so obvious what would happen if the guy was someone belonging to like a right-wing sovereignist party in Europe. So like, let's assume what is in Germany, the AfD, right? Like imagine if he was an AfD supporter, what would the reaction have been? Like first of all, I don't even think it would get to this point. They would probably arrest him the moment he tweeted out on social media. But secondly, if it did, you would have like just non-stop media coverage 24/7 about how dangerous and extremist the party is. You would have like the police checking in on most of the party leadership and trying to see if they had any connection with this. They would try to see where he got the money from, like who funded him if they did. And then, calls for more censorship throughout Europe. Warnings about the extremism and danger of the far right. You would have like people marching on the streets and protesting. You would have calls for the party itself to get banned. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Do I get like the wrong way? If you think that I'm wrong, go to any AI that you want, whether it's ChatGPT, Grok, or anything like that. And ask him the hypothetical, like what would happen if in Germany you would have a person connected to a right wings or a far right group committing such an atrocity, and see what the AI tells you, right? Because like the AI has no intention of bullshitting. It's got like no horse in the race. It's not a subjective entity. Like, no, it will tell you based on previous events. Like, it will use pattern recognition, and it will find out like what happened in other countries when a similar event took place, and then it will tell you like what the public reaction is going to be like. And I think it's going to be like what I'm saying. And so, like, this is one of the main reasons that you have a lot of discontent in Europe, because people are noticing this. This is not about, what the mainstream media is saying. It is about what the fact that the mainstream media isn't saying. And right now in Europe, from what I notice, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're against Ursula von der Leyen or her policies, then you're considered to be pro-Russian, far-right, extremist, fascist, xenophobic. And I don't doubt that some people who are against Ursula von der Leyen may very well be fascist, xenophobic, and pro-Russian. But like all of them, every single one of them, right? Like just no except every single one. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Because I don't think that's the case. I don't think that, any criticism to Ursula is far-right. And so what ends up happening is that people are noticing that the mainstream media is almost an extension of the PR for politicians, for the establishment. That's the vibe people are getting. Whether it is or isn't, it doesn't matter. The perception from many people is that the mainstream media is like the PR team for the establishment. And this is why people go online, right? And this is why the press is like, oh my God, you need to censor X, Elon Musk is bad, we need to censor TikTok. The real question, why are people on X? And why are people on TikTok? Why don't they watch the media? And the answer is because like they're having conversation in real life that any type of person would. And I'm willing to bet even leftist politicians have these conversations, right? Because they're human beings as well. And so they go to the office, they go on the street, and they're having the conversation about it. It's like, how is it possible? Like, we got so much censorship in Germany. They're cracking down on any type of dissent. How did this manage to escape? And so people are asking the question, and when they're turning their television, they notice that no one is asking these questions. In fact, like, people don't even want to talk about it that much. Like, they just want to mention it because they have to, but like then they want to move on, right? And people go like, hold on a little bit. How do you move on from this? Like you need to have like a little bit more conversation, the same way that if it was a right winger doing it. Like, because unironically, that is like the healthy way people react. Yeah, if a right-wing person would do it, I would expect people to keep talking about it all length. Because it is something worth discussing, right? Like, public safety is a matter of great concern. And so people notice that the media isn't talking about it, and then they go on TikTok, then they go on X, and they find someone else that talks about it. And that person is bringing some statistics, is bringing some, evidence, and they're like, well, hold on a little bit, that can't be true. And they Google it, and they see that it is. And so the government gets freaked out about it. Like, what do you mean people are talking about the event? No, censorship. Right? Instead of talking about reform, instead of, like, at least placating the public and saying, great, well, this happened, this is what we're going to do in the future. Like give some hope to the people. This is the problem, like, left-wing politicians are not giving any hope. Simply refusing to address the issue and moving on, or addressing it with some platitudes is not enough. Like, people want to know, it's like, all right, well, this is happening the same way that it happened back then. I think it was like 2014, 2016, it happened in Europe. So, like, what exactly are you guys doing in order to make sure that it doesn't happen? Because, again, like, if a right wing did it, they would be like, oh, more censorship, more cracking down, we're going to get, the private sector to help us to deal with it, blah, 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 blah. So, like, where is that? Where's that energy? Where's that vibe? Yeah, it's happening before elections in Germany as well, isn't it? So I assume that even more censorship is going... Like, no matter what happens, if it's something bad, whether it's the left or the right doing it, the answer is always more censorship. I assume that stuff like this doesn't happen in China, right? Didn't happen in the Soviet Union, huh? Right. It's the censorship is not enough. That's what I think will be the moral take from this. Hopefully I'm wrong, maybe they will actually want to discuss it, because as you can see, the news is pretty recent. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.